Hi, Jason.
Hello.
So what's
Getting a sunburn.
Yeah. So what's going on? What's going on in the world today? I was just looking at before I came here. I was looking on television and said, "Whoa, what happened to the market?"
Holy cow. It was a 500-point drop today, a 300-point drop yesterday. And the piece I find interesting because the stock market always just fluctuates for random reasons. I think my favorite thing when it comes to the stock market is the explanation is always because of fears of something. So today was stock market plummets 500 points due to fears in Chinese economy and falling oil prices. So if we're afraid of something, the stock market plummets. I don't understand it. I will never wrap my head around. I'm afraid of something.
Well, I think we should be afraid because actually the world is falling apart. I'll be afraid. I mean, I am afraid.
Well, by that standpoint, absolutely. I'm frightened of that direction. The part I find amusing is the Chinese economy is going down the tank, and
well, I think
the
they did
Chinese
it on
really
purpose.
own us.
It's like it's a deliberate action to devalue their currency, and so that's how to protect themselves. So.
And that's interesting. I hadn't given that a thought as something deliberate to devalue their currency. What really has me curious about something like that is how does that affect other nations around the world? Brazil, for example, their currency has taken I think it was a 40% nosedive today against the American dollar, and this is all because of everything that's gone on due to falling oil prices, which here in the States I'm thrilled to death. Now again, we don't have 75 gallons of gas anymore, but it's still quite interesting that you've got that thought process. So you think it's a deliberate attempt to do what?
I don't know, but this is how they protect their economy, and they're standing in the trade and everything. So I don't know.
The Chinese economy blows my mind because I look at us here in the States, and I'm going to use the iPhone here
Right, good.
as an example. So designed in America, manufactured in China. Now paid for with American dollars. They go through this whole big devaluation thing. Well, right now we're paying Chinese factory workers pennies on the dollar to go ahead and build the next iPhone, the next something.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do this kind of thing, sure, it puts you in a stronger place economically, theoretically, but I cannot wrap my head around why somebody would deliberately put themselves in that kind of a pinch, unless it's to, I don't want to call it, you've got traditional warfare, you've got cyber warfare.
Right.
Is this one of those things where you say, hey, we're going to call it economic warfare, and we're going to cause the Americans, and let's face it, China owns us.
Yeah, well, like for example, the Apple, took a hit when they did that, so profit. So I don't know, but it's really becoming more chaotic what's happening. But
there were some oil companies that took a stock hit today of like 30 to 40%, Chevron and Exxon.
Yeah.
Which again, it's more mind-blowing to me. So what happens come Monday?
oh,
Does that mean, are they going to fall more? Are they going to rise? How's that going to affect oil prices? Is my iPhone going to cost more? And at the end of the day, it's going to sound really silly. Does anyone care?
yeah, and that's the question: is how are the ordinary Americans really going to respond to it, or how are we affected by it? So I don't, sometimes we don't get it, so we just go along with our lives, and there's a lot of things happening that we don't understand.
As a society, we don't. I looked at it for a couple of reasons. I've got some items that have been in the stock market for a while, and I took a bit of a hit today. Not a tremendous hit.
That's what I was going to ask you, like how much,
but,
if you lost a lot of...
So here's the deal. After the automotive crisis a couple of years ago, I bought stock in Ford, and I bought it when it was $2, and at one point I think it was valued at $14. Now I'm not going to pull it up and see what it closed at today, but I took a little bit of a hit, nothing too extraordinary. When I say too extraordinary, you lose $1 on $14 is pretty substantial, but that's the way I looked at it. Otherwise, if I don't have any money there, I don't care. When I care is when I go to the gas pump and see suddenly that the fuel prices jump from $2.40 to $2.90 or $3. Then I go, what the heck is going on? Because it just doesn't make any sense to me.
And I think that's when the people are going to pay attention, when they can no longer afford, gas. So
and that's a sick thing.
Yeah.
We become concerned because we can't afford to put gas in our car.
Yeah, or the prices of food, in at Walmart or at the stores is really ridiculously high that you can no longer buy, gallons of milk, for your family. So I think unless there's like this big crisis, there's not going to be a move or awareness. So I think something has to go really grave. Is that what we're waiting for? And that is very sad, I think.
That's the only thing that's going to cause people to take a step back out of their skin and take a good hard look. When we had the economic crisis a bit back, everybody took a good hard look and stopped driving Hummers and the big trucks
I remember
that 12 miles to the gallon. We started to invest in ourselves and use technology to have hybrid vehicles, and people started to be smarter shoppers, and instead of being frivolous with money, started to put it into a different place. Now the economy is cyclical. It'll always be on a rise. You'll hit its peak, and then it's going to drop, bottom out, and that's just the way it has been in history, and that's the way to continue to go into the future. But really, as a society, we make adjustments with whatever happens so that we can continue to survive. We make vehicles that are more fuel efficient. When people stop buying eggs for $4 a dozen, then suddenly there's some pricing adjustments, supply and demand comes into play, and we can sit here and go all the way back and say, is China doing something self-regulated to control their dollar going to affect us today? Yeah. Long term, hopefully we're going to be resilient enough. Or what kind of adjustments can we make to say, so what, big deal, they can do whatever they want to themselves, it doesn't affect us. I don't know how we do that.
Yeah, is that a strategy though, that they make adjustments so that people don't almost notice what's happening? Like for example, the price of eggs or milk or bread, there's something, they don't want to panic the people. So it's almost like deliberate that we don't even notice, but actually the economy is pretty much at the bottom for a very long time now.
Yeah, it's been in a bad spot.
Yeah, and I think there's not an outcry about that or some kind of community people getting together and say, hey, let's take a look at this, because really it's not in a good direction.
And you're right, but here's where there's outcry, and the outcry is very, very limited. And when it comes to, we will complain about it at the cash register when we're buying our $4 eggs. We complain about it, and then we leave and deal with it. We'll complain about gas prices when we're at the gas station putting fuel in our car. And the funny thing about it is we'll complain about gas being upper $2, $3, but you go to some countries and it's $5. So we're still extremely spoiled in the grand scheme of things. But as much as I have complained about fuel prices over the past decade and a half, I still complained at the gas pump as I'm buying gas for my big car.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of people that are concerned, about the real direction of this country. So maybe there's an opportunity. I always believe that this country is, we go up and down, and there's always, that's what America is. And I still believe in that. But right now, it's really, all over the place. It's not good.
And here's where the challenge really lies, is a lot of that up and down is a direct result of us relying so much on everybody else. And when we talk about how much China really has controlled the American economy, or our dependence on oil from coming out of the Middle East, and we can sit here and piecemeal all these things. And if we were to focus and keep everything at home, then we can legitimately say, so what if somebody wants to tank their American dollar, or tank their currency against ours? But until we do the right thing and focus on keeping everything here at home, the jobs here at home, and everything.
And who's going to start that? Who's going to, what is the catalyst for us to have this change? And
we need to hit rock bottom.
I thought we already did. We already rock
apparently
bottom.
We haven't hit rock bottom enough. I mean,
there's no ration of food in the corners.
It's going to be worse than a Great Depression. It's going to be one of those things where people are chasing a rice truck down the street, and then we'll have to sit here and say, well, we need to get the right person in place, and is it going to be a president? I mean, we talk all the time about, buy American, and I know you're driving an American vehicle, and I'm driving a foreign car. So I'm just as much to blame. I'll say that, but at the same time, That's purely because a lot of the products that we have here are just not as strong.
Right.
And we'll sit here and say, well, we'll just buy it from someplace abroad and give consumers
And they're very
the
expensive.
option.
If you do it responsibly, I think those are the product that are here from the United States, they're very expensive. So it's hard
And I
to...
don't understand why.
Yeah. Well, it's because of our manufacturing is shipped, and we don't have that here anymore. So.
And we're a country that is so spoiled. We're at a coffee shop.
I
That's
know.
so spoiled and so rich. When we go to a auto dealership to get a car fixed, and some of these mechanics are making $40, $50 an hour, whereas you go to some countries and people are making 40 or 50 bucks a month, or a week or something like that. That's where things get muddy. So we're going to continue to sit here and say, well, that's why things are so expensive. India has a car
Right.
that you can buy for, under $3,000 or something like that? It's extremely inexpensive. We will never have something like that here
I
in
think
the
this is
States.
the reason why your guy, Donald Trump, who wants to make America great again.
Come on down, Donald.
There you go.
Come have a seat here. I want to ask you questions.
There you go. That's why I think this is the reason why when he goes out there and he says things like "Let's make America great again." I mean, it attracts a lot of people, and so people still believe in that or want to believe in this country. So
I do. I really.
where
do.
else we're gonna go? I mean, right?
It's funny because for probably the past 4 or so presidential elections, I would say to myself, okay, I'm moving to Canada. I'm moving to Canada. I'm moving to Canada. Why? Because I have a healthcare system. They don't have as much BS that we have to deal with every 4 years. We don't elect somebody who, blows smoke up our cans for 4 years so we can get reelected for another 4. Mr. Trump, I think, would be amazing because of his business set. And you're right, it's Make America Great Again, and it's to stop the reliance on everything foreign. I mean, we have the resources to stand on our own 2 feet.
Yes, and that message is actually really resonating, and it's a great message. And he's got the record. He's got a good record of in business, which many of the candidates I think have that record. And so even those people who really like making fun of him in the beginning are now really paying attention and talking about him and discussing things that he's talking about.
And here's the thing: what's going to make America great again? Reducing our dependency on foreign resources, keeping maybe a certain riffraff out, or spending all of our time focusing on somebody's email and why they picked a cheap server that's in somebody's closet in Denver, Hillary. So the point I'm getting at is focusing the energy there going to make us great? Absolutely not. Again, tomorrow most people don't care. What I'm paying attention to is I've got student loans. Why are they as outrageous as they are? Why is gas as expensive as it is? Why is it so difficult for people to come out of college? For starters, get a college degree, come out of college and basically
no job
without having a job.
Yeah.
And when I hear jobs are available, or we've added 300,000 jobs, why are they $9 and $10 an hour jobs that are part-time only? Because we've got a healthcare system in place that makes companies not want to pay benefits.
Right.
You put all these things into perspective, what's going to be the more important thing here? Hiring somebody to be the leader of this country who's going to make America great again, or hiring somebody who's going to spend all her time trying to figure out how to hide emails that says, oh, I screwed up on something that happened in Gaza.
Yeah. Oh man, and there's a lot of things he's actually explaining. Before that, people are saying that, oh, he's not really laying out his plan, and now he's beginning to do it.
It's shocking people because they're thinking, oh, okay, at first it's a popularity contest and he wants to go out and shock people and offend people.
Right.
And he said it at the GOP debate a couple of weeks ago, the time for political correctness is over. The time for action is here. It's been here for decades, and you know something? He's right. We've got to get this kind of baloney completely turned around.
Yeah, and talking about political correctness, the topic that was so on the spotlight was anchor babies.
Mm-hmm.
And he really talked about it and say, yeah, so what do you want me to call these people who come over here, have a baby, make sure that they're only coming here for that right time for their to give birth.
Mm-hmm.
And and I heard, some people are really deliberately doing that in different countries, not just Mexico, but also in European. They do that. So, but I don't really know how to explain that because it's in the Constitution. So
It's a tough one.
it's a tough one. But don't you think that if you come here and you are doing it for the purpose of, you want your kid to be a citizen of this country, and that's it. Don't you think that is a fraud? It's fraud, right?
It is, and I think there's a couple of things to really look at here, Merge. Is number one, the Constitution was written a long time ago.
Right.
When, and let's use Mexico as an example.
Okay.
Mexico as we know it today, then we didn't know anything about it.
Right.
Number one. Number two, it was a lot more difficult to hop someplace else. And number three, at the time, there was no drive, no necessity to leave one country to go to another to have a child so that child is a citizen. What has happened is those words have stayed on paper, which is great, don't get me wrong, but that particular piece has never been amended. We're in a time frame now where you can hop a fence in the middle of the night, you can hop on an airplane, you can make a car drive. In a short amount of time, you could do something and work the system. Find
Right.
a loophole, if you will. And what have we done to fix that is say, shame on you. And nothing has been done to fix that. So yes, it is fraud. And if you really want to get down to it, it is just downright theft. Somebody is crossing a border, and in my mind, doing an international crime. They are
Right,
stealing from me, this is my tax dollars.
Right, exactly.
That is paying for somebody else. And unfortunately, there's an innocent child in the middle of all this now. And we are draining our economy
Right.
on these people. And it's not right.
Right. Yeah, because my idea is if you come here to this country and you become a citizen, you contribute. You just don't take advantage of the system
Right
and
on.
also the taxpayers. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, if you are coming here to become a citizen and you really believe in this country and you make contribution, that's fine, right? It's
I
fine.
think that's fair.
Right.
You come to
But-
society to contribute, not to be a drain on society, not to get a free handout. And we see people every day who are, on the surface, citizens holding cardboard signs, down on luck, support a veteran,
Right.
things like that, and that's a tough situation. There are those that need help. There are those that ask for help, and then there are those who just take.
Right.
And those who just take, I have
And
no
the system
respect
is
for.
actually playing with that. I mean, it's
It is.
and it's not fair. It's not fair.
It's not.
Yeah, especially you mentioned the veterans. The veterans need a lot of help, and the veterans needs to be. I mean, the administration needs to fix it. So
Well, there are so many things that need to be done for these folks.
right.
These individuals, I mean, at this time, have volunteered to serve their country. And congratulations, you're 18 years old, and we're going to send you overseas, and you're going to do something on a boat, on a sub, in a desert. Who knows? You'll spend some time, do the right things, fight for your country. Whether or not we believe in the cause, we're doing it without question.
Right.
You come home, and now you can't get a job. You've got bills you can't pay.
And they're
That
sick,
makes
and
no
the family,
sense.
everything, and it's
Explain to me how that's okay.
Yeah, it's really sad because when you send these young men and women out there overseas for a tour, I mean, you do it pretty quick. You order like, oh yeah, let's send 15,000, of them. It's very quickly. But when they come home, actually, they struggle so much.
sad.
They're sick, broken. No limbs and everything, and they struggle to even get the benefit that they deserve. And that is so disturbing to me, and that I think a lot of people should come together and say something about that.
So does that mean we need to put something together as a comprehensive piece that if you serve in the military for X amount of time and you do your duty and you come back, are you then taken care of for X amount of
They're
time?
supposed to. There is that system for. Oops. Whoa.
This is an unscripted program.